let's talk about this diagram and the one we have coming up next that illustrates the problem that we have with alerts and legitimate alerts that we need to see, but the growing volume and how that's contributing to this alert fatigue. Tell us a little about this diagram here.
Yeah, absolutely. So this shows a projection built last year of CVEs, of vulnerabilities in software packages that need to be dealt with by customers. And as you can see, from 2015 up through 2023, a massive uptick. Now, there is a little bit of nuance here. This doesn't necessarily mean that software is getting less secure. In fact, it almost certainly means that we are getting better as an industry at identifying and understanding the importance of these vulnerabilities. So this is, probably in 2015, I would say pound for pound, most software was less secure than it was in 2023. Absolutely. But people are finding these, they're realizing the importance of them, they're producing patches for them, and it does not change the bottom line of this equation, which is IT teams need to patch these vulnerabilities or change configuration to deal with them. And that volume is just going up and up and up, and it's massive. And it's funny because it had predicted when the slide was made that in 2025 we would reach 32,000. Well, now we have an entirely new wrinkle that began in January of this year. And as you'll see on the next slide, like, we're a little bit off the map. So what happened with these vulnerabilities is vendors produce these and they send them off to NIST, the National Institute for Science and Technology in Washington, D.C., and they run NVD, the National Vulnerability Database. So they analyze these, and some of them require modification, some of them get rejected, and that becomes your true count of these CVEs that must be addressed each and every year. Well, they have been chronically under-resourced, and it sounds like some people probably left tired of being chronically under-resourced. So now they have a backlog of CVEs that haven't even been analyzed. So we have no official count globally, right? This is the authoritative database for the world, and no one has an official count of how many CVEs have we had this year. As of July, we're up to 16,000. And that backlog is projected, like taking that trend line forward. Fortress, a cybersecurity company, did an analysis recently, and it's projected to hit 30,000 by year end. And that is astounding. So that's 30,000. So not only might we hit 30,000 and be ahead of that projection, because that was a pretty steep curve on the previous slide to reach 32.
Right.
But we don't even know if those are actually all CVEs or if some need to be rejected and some need to be modified. We're completely off the map this year. And so on one hand, it's a good trend. Vendors are taking CVEs more seriously. They are being aggressive with it. They are running bug bounty programs, generally doing the things that they should. But it is a real problem for the rest of us to track and analyze and build policies and strategies to get those patches done.
Absolutely. And, a common solution to that problem, I have read so many articles on this topic saying that one of the top pieces of advice is to do rotating of responsibilities, right? It's to throw more people at the problem. It's to rotate different people in so a fresh set of eyes can be looking at it, that are, eyes that are not fatigued by the alerts and can be dealing with these things and addressing them appropriately. But the problem is that's dependent upon having more resources, and I say more bodies to throw at the problem, but also it can't just be warm bodies. It has to be skilled resources. So that's not a sustainable long-term solution in and of itself. And then you add to that the fact that we have this other industry trend is making that even harder to do if it were a sustainable solution. And that's the shortage of technology resources, which you just mentioned, even the resources to be able to analyze these incoming reports. So I've got a few details or statistics here about the workforce shortage. According to Gartner, back in just a couple of years ago, 2022, 50% of tech vacancies have been open for 6 months or longer. And of course, they expected that trend to continue, and I believe it has. That Also, 58% of IT workers say they're suffering from job burnout, and 89% of those say that they want to quit. So there's that high turnover caused by the burnout that we're talking about.